What I'm hoping for, because I believe in this country and I love this country, and I feel like I have to speak up, because at a certain point, Glenn, you have to put country, God, and family above career and above the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
And I have done that, and you have done that. And
are you willing to lose it all for what you believe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have it, then we have nothing. Mm-hmm. I don't care about my career anymore. Mm-hmm. I care about my children's.
Me too.
The country that they're going to live in. And my hope is this. My hope is a beautiful story from a chaplain in England. When the American Flyers came over in the early days of World War II, when the American Flyers came over after, this is like the dog days, 1942, late 42, when like their friends were getting blown out of the sky. They would go over on the bombers and half would come back, 2/3 would come back, but they were dying. And there was one particularly awful week, 2 weeks, where there was a very high percentage of these pilots were getting blown out of the sky and getting killed. And they went to the prison. They went to the Air Force chaplain, and the pilot said, "Why?" I said, "Our friends are dying. Why should we do this? Why should we get up tomorrow and fly?" They did this at like literally 4:45. They're supposed to leave at 5:30. Why should we do this? Tell us why. They didn't say they weren't going to do it. So tell us why we should do this. Our friends are dying. Tell us. And the chaplain was really, woke up and said, well, humanity has come out of the dark ages. We've come out of where people get burned at the stake. People believe and go along with this. And there's a darkness that we have come out of into a more of an enlightened period, a more freer period. And he said, this is a step back into those darkness, into the darkest parts of humanity. And we need to stand up for that now. And that requires this. So they all flew.
We are there again.
Yeah, and it requires a new set of flyers.
Why did that affect you so much?
Well, I do feel the sacrifice that's required, like we have to make it, and we got to do it because we were lucky, man. We grew up in that boom time of American, like 1947, Jackie Robinson. I consider that that when the inclusive part of America, and then 54, Brown versus the Board of Education, and then you have like my dad in 1954. He just after Brown versus Education, he said, "I'm gonna," and my dad was in real estate. Son, "I'm gonna rent to black people," and he said, "This is wrong. This is not moral." And I grew up with that guy, and I grew up with my mother who was an educator, and when also half her family were killed during the Japanese occupation. So I grew up with that. So I was very aware of and so that morally shaped me. And so it does make me think we were so lucky the 70s. Come on.
I know.
How great was that?
I know.
We got to live free.
I've thought about this a lot. We're same age. And I think about it a lot, that my kids won't have the opportunity to see America at the height and at our best, even though we had all kinds of problems. Yeah. But we still had freedom in a different way than they'll ever understand. And, when I left New York, I didn't realize it until later. I think, I was at the top, and you were close to, at the very top, close to the end of that era of New York. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And now that...
Dude, I was on billboards in Times Square.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And that era is over, and people won't experience the things that we kind of took for granted in some ways.
You know, there is I'm hopeful that freedom, because we've had, you know, America has survived. And, you know, like for people who think this is a civil war, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not a civil war. I mean, if you talk about the brutality and the 600,000 people that died in the Civil War, and the high percentage of that, of the population at that time, and in horrible ways.
I was just in Gettysburg, and over the weekend, and I bought for our history vault 3 diaries of a guy who was just a regular guy, infantryman on the North, and he just documented his day-to-day.
Yeah.
And one of his entries is about coming up to a fence where the Confederates had beheaded Union soldiers, stuck their heads on the pikes, and then cut off their genitals and put it in their mouth. And I thought, that's an American doing that to another American. And that only happens when you're trained to hate the other side.
That is what happens. And the road, I mean, I hate to say this, but like we're heading towards that road. Because
I think we're on that road. We can still turn around.
When we are, when you stop communicating, when you stop using dissuasion, when you stop using debate to find the better ideas, the road that you're going down is brutality and no longer civilization, because that's not civilized anymore. There's no, you know, you can. That's why I say, and it's true. I don't hate my enemies. I don't have enemies. I have people I disagree with.
Yes.
And these are Americans, and I am not going to go down that road of yelling, of demonizing. I mean, I found myself the other day like the guy from Pfizer, and I went like, he just got COVID. And then he admitted it doesn't really work. And we're like, and I said, you effing A. Oh, no, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
But like,
it's hard.
It's hard not to. And it's like, that's the thing about this. You tweet, and it's out. Huh? It's out. Can I take it back? No, it's forever. But I have faith. I have faith, and I have faith in God, and I take this, and I've my faith in God has increased dramatically.
Mine too.
Once you have children, and once you get older and wiser, and you realize the wisdom of God and everything, and it's I take solace in what Father Ripperger told me. And he was very lovely to give me an audience with him. He's a terrific Catholic priest, and Catholicism is the, you know, I did the born-again Christian thing. My dad was a Jew. My mom was a Catholic. They gave up their religions for each other, like the old Bill Maher joke. You know, when I go to confession, I bring my attorney. Father, this is Mr. Cohen. He'll be answering all the questions. But the Catholicism is the closest to the actual word of Jesus, in the fact that it was, it went from the Aramaic to the Greek to the Latin. And Father Ripperger said to me, because he was talking about the rise in evil in the world right now, and it is. You have to think like the Nazi Germany, whatever demons or whatever release of something's going on like that time. And I think, but he said a beautiful thing, and I want your listeners to know that. I want you to know that also. He said a beautiful thing. He said, look, Jesus already won. This is just a mop-up mission. So have faith. And faith, and I to my liberal friends, and the few that I still have, faith is just an openness. It's the difference between belief. Belief is that fundamentalism. Belief come from the word Anglo. Leaf is a willfulness to. It's like, I want the world to be this way, and this is the right way. Yeah. It's just, no, it's got to fit into that. And that is the opposite. It precludes the possibility of faith. Faith is simply an openness to the truth. And I would just ask my liberal friends to be open to the truth, and to know that, to take a small child, a young girl, and a young boy, and think that that they were given the wrong body. I said, Jesus, say that to Jesus. Say that to God. God, you made a wrong body. I don't think he's going to answer, yeah, I did. He's going to know I made they're all perfect in their own way. I think we have to come from a place of love. We have to come from a place of God. And it's like, that's the only way we can heal. And that's what, I mean, at my best, I'm going to try to do that. At my worst, I'm going to get wrapped up and angry, because I'm a human being too. And I'm passionate about it, as you can tell. But I want to send a message of love and God and faith and family.